What's up, guys? Funk with you, and I'm going over my top 10 horror books that I want to read and will soon. Let me know in the comments which horror books are your favorites. I'm starting this out with number 1, Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. This is the first Hannibal Lecter novel, and it's about an antagonist named the Tooth Fairy Killer versus an FBI profiler named William Graham. It wasn't the best seller until its sequel, The Silence of the Lambs, was made into a hit movie, and then it blew up. Interesting fact, not much is known about Thomas Harris. He's avoided interviews his entire life, but we do know that in preparation for this novel, he attended classes at the FBI's Behavioral Sciences Unit. Red Dragon has inspired a lot. Sequels, films, television series, theater productions, and the movie of The Silence of the Lambs was the third movie in history to sweep the Oscars in major categories. The Hannibal books are one of the most popular horror series in history, and it all starts with Red Dragon. I have a feeling I'm going to be picturing Anthony Hopkins in my mind as I read this one, and I look forward to reviewing it soon. Number 2, a ghost story novel, Ghost Story by Peter Straub. Although Ghost Story is the novel that cemented Peter Straub's career, he's written many other novels and short stories. I've read 2 books that he's co-authored with Stephen King, The Talisman and Black House, and Straub is the recipient of the Bram Stoker Award, the World Fantasy Award, and the International Horror Guild Award. I know that this one was made into a popular movie in 1981, and I want to get a feel for Peter Straub not co-authoring with Stephen King. I think I'm going to enjoy this one because I love a good ghost story. Number 3, A Carnival Tale, A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This one sounds very unusual. A 14-year-old girl named Marjorie is falling into a state of madness, and her family agree to be part of a reality television program. I cannot imagine where this one is going to go, but it did win the Bram Stoker Award for Best Novel in 2015, and I've had constant recommendations for it. Tremblay is known for writing horror, dark fantasy, and science fiction, and he's also a mathematician. He teaches math and coaches basketball at a private high school, St. Sebastian's, which is just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. If this one is as good as the recommendations I've received for it, it should be a great read. Number 4, Tock by Dean Koontz. This one's about a man who comes home to find a rag doll on his porch, and so begins a tale of horror. Koontz is one of the most successful authors to ever pen a piece, over 100 published books. And we have a real up and down relationship. Some of the books that I've read by Koontz I thought were very, very good. And some others I felt were unusual. I felt that they ended bad and that they were off the mark. I'll tell you something that I admire about Dean. I find him to be a very wise, philosophical person. There have been books that I've read by him that I didn't really enjoy concerning the plot, but that were so filled with insight and understanding concerning human nature and life itself that I still found them valuable reads. Koontz has published under 10 pen names. He's accomplished a lot, and I particularly love his Moonlight Bay series, the Christopher Snow books. He may be the most polarizing author in horror fiction. People either seem to love the guy or not. Hit or miss, though, I have a lot of respect for Koontz, and I'm psyched about Tock. Number 5, House of Leaves by Mark Danielewski. This one is an example of ergodic literature, and it takes a non-trivial effort to get through this thing. There are words arranged all over the page. There are different font sizes, different colored words. There are whole parallel stories told in the footnotes, and you're oftentimes forced to choose, because of the structure of the book, which storyline you want to follow, and then you have to backtrack to get the rest. The book is designed to get the reader to interact with it. Sometimes you have to rotate the book to read the words. Sometimes you even have to put it in front of a mirror to read the words. This one has been a big success. It's been translated into many languages, and I know that it'll be unlike anything that I've read before, and Daniel Lusky is an avid cat lover. Need I say more? Number 6, The Tommyknockers by Stephen King. This one takes place in Stephen King's Maine, and it's a space alien novel. King has reported that H.P. Lovecraft's short story, The Color of Space, was the inspiration. This one is a long book. It's just shy of being a tome, and it gets very mixed reviews. It's probably one of the least popular Stephen King books. However, it did inspire a 2-part miniseries that took place on ABC in 1993. King has been nominated for hundreds of awards, winning many of them, including the National Medal of Arts. I have read 47 Stephen King books. I'm making my way through them all, and he penned my favorite story of all time, the epic fantasy, The Dark Tower series. Late last night and the night before, Tommyknockers, Tommyknockers, knocking at the door. I want to go out, don't know if I can, 'cause I'm so afraid of the Tommyknocker Man. Number 7, the 1954 post-apocalyptic horror, I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. This one was very influential in popularizing the concept of a worldwide apocalypse due to disease. Matheson was an author and a screenwriter, primarily in the horror, fantasy, and science fiction genres. And he won awards such as the Lifetime Achievement World Fantasy Award, the Lifetime Achievement Bram Stoker Award, and he was nominated into the Science Fiction Hall of Fame in 2010. I read a short story of his called Button Button. It was made into a movie titled Button Box. I thought it was a good short story, and he also wrote 16 television episodes for The Twilight Zone. I Am Legend was made into a popular movie starring Will Smith, and Matheson inspired many modern writers, including the unholy queen of vampire fiction, Anne Rice, who stated that as a child, Matheson's short story, A Dress of White Silk, was an early influence in her interest in vampire and fantasy fiction. Number 8, Swan Song by Robert McCammon. This is a post-apocalyptic novel describing the aftermath of a nuclear war. In 1988, it tied for the Bram Stoker Award with Stephen King's Misery. McCammon has quite a few best-selling books, including The Wolf's Hour, Stinger, and Boy's Life, but Swan Song was the first one to hit the big time. This one was nominated as one of America's best loved novels by PBS's The Great American Read, and I think it's going to be a horrifically fun time. Number 9, At the Mountains of Madness and Other Tales of Terror by H.P. Lovecraft. This one includes 4 stories. At the Mountains of Madness, which is a novella, and 3 short stories titled The Shunned House, The Dreams in the Witch House, and The Statement of Randolph Carter. Fact about Howard Phillips Lovecraft, he was never able to support himself with his earnings as either an author or an editor. He was virtually unknown during his lifetime and died in poverty at the age of 46. Lovecraft is most well known for his The Cthulhu or Cthulhu mythos, a shared fictional universe that other authors have contributed to that all started with Lovecraft's short story, The Call of Cthulhu. Lovecraft's writing career started as a child. He was obsessed with Greek and Roman mythologies, and his first writings were poems that reworked those mythologies. The title story here, At the Mountains of Madness, was originally serialized in the February, March, and April editions of the 1936 Astounding Stories magazine. Although he wasn't well known during his lifetime, we now recognize him with literary honor, and I am quite excited about finally reading Lovecraft. And number 10, the 1959 Gothic horror, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This one was a finalist for the National Book Award and is considered broadly as one of the best ghost stories of the 20th century. Shirley Hardy Jackson wrote 6 novels, 2 memoirs, and more than 200 short stories. And she won more than several awards for her short stories, including the Mystery Writers of America Award, and she won the Edgar Allan Poe Award for her short story, Louisa, Please Come Home. She had such an impact that in 2007, the Shirley Jackson Awards were established for outstanding achievements in the literature of horror, dark fantasy, and psychological suspense. Paul Tremblay, an author I mentioned earlier, is a juror for the Shirley Jackson Awards. The Haunting of Hill House has inspired 2 feature films, radio broadcasts, theater productions, and a popular Netflix series. However, I have heard mixed reviews on the book, and I must get to the bottom of this thing. And there you go, 10 horror books that I want to read and will soon. Please subscribe to my channel if you made it this far. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Thanks for dropping by, guys. I'll see you next time.